We are here to make over your lunchboxes. We know that a lot of you struggle to figure out what to take to work, easy and convenient snack ideas, and just want some easy options. So, our goal today is to give you a whole lot of practical food ideas that you can take to work with you or pack in your lunchbox or take on a picnic. Choice is yours here, really. My name is Alana Scott. I'm the founder of A Little Bit Yummy, and I'll be your host today. And joining me is Emily Clarke. She is a registered dietitian from the Monash FODMAP team, and she has so many great tips to share with us. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Alana, and thank you everyone for having me today. It is great to be here, and I just love talking about food. So I am excited to talk to you about food for work.
I know we are both such big foodies that honestly we could talk for hours outside these chat sessions just about food. So Emily, before we jump into some specific food ideas, what should we be thinking about or talking about when we are looking at a balanced lunchbox?
Great question. So as a dietitian, I personally like to look at the healthy eating model. So making sure that your lunchtime meal has a good balance of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and vegetables. So if we're talking a low FODMAP version of that, for your carbohydrates, you're going to be looking at rice, quinoa, maybe some rice noodles or some gluten-free pasta, those sorts of things. Even potato. The humble potato is a really good low FODMAP source of carbohydrates, so you can incorporate something like that in your meal. Your protein sources are generally all low FODMAP when you don't have any seasonings or anything like that. So just your chicken, your beef, your fish, any of those sorts of options. If you're making like a stir fry or something, make sure you've got a good protein source in there as well. If you are using lentils or chickpeas or something like that for your protein source, make sure you're sticking to a low FODMAP serve. And then, of course, making sure you've got a good variety of vegetables, which is really important for a balanced diet. So making sure you've got some low FODMAP serves of vegetables in there as well. Add some seasonings that are low FODMAP as well, or using a certified sort of sauce or stir fry. Those sorts of things are sort of my basic things to look at in terms of a meal. And then, of course, you've got snacks as well. So looking for some high fiber, high protein snacks to get you through as well. So they're sort of the basics that we look at. And then, of course, we can always delve more into some actual recipes to help make those decisions easier for people.
For sure. Basically, we're looking at a balanced plate because we want a good mixture of protein and fiber, because that's what helps keep you full and stops you getting the munchies when you're at work.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we are working up to our lunchbox tips, but before we get there, a question we see all the time, whether it's in the FODMAP groups or in our emails, is can you have leftovers from the night before for your lunch the next day when you're on the diet?
Definitely. It's one of the best things that you can do to actually have that convenient food ready to go, takes the pressure off you, making sure that you've got good food handling and hygiene. So keeping something in the fridge overnight, and when you get to work as well, making sure you reheat it and those sorts of things. But absolutely, you can take leftovers. That's the best way that you can go about it.
It's also such a budget-friendly option as well, because when you bulk cook a meal, you can use, those ingredients, you can buy in larger portion sizes, and you can save heaps of time because you're not having to repeat that 15 or 20 minutes of work the next day when you go to make your lunch.
Absolutely. I'm someone that lives alone, so for me, making that big bulk cook makes it so much easier for the next few days, and then you're not washing up as well, and that's no fun. Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody likes dishes. And if you have a freezer, then saving some soups that you've made or some saucy stir fries, or that casserole that you're not going to get through all in one go, and popping those into the freezer for an easy lunch option are great go-tos as well.
Definitely.
Okay, that brings me to our next question. Emily, do you have some go-to ideas you love for your lunchbox that are low FODMAP?
Absolutely. On the conversation of the bulk cooking, and one of the things that I love to cook and freeze is really great is the age-old spaghetti bolognese. Make it low FODMAP, put it in the freezer. It lasts a good couple of weeks, couple of months. I try and have a variety of different foods in the freezer. So, you know, it's not spaghetti bolognese every day, but that's one of the perfect ones that you can do. Great couple of vegetables in there as well. Make sure you're getting a good balanced diet and getting that fiber in there. So that's probably number one. Number two, especially in, you know, more the summer season, I like to make different salads, and I like to bulk up my salads with quinoa or rice as well. So it can be something simple like putting in some quinoa, some rocket, some roast pumpkin, drizzle a bit of infused olive oil, some lemon juice, those sorts of things. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. Things like that are really easy, budget friendly, and you can make them a couple of days in advance. If you keep them in the fridge, they do keep for a couple of days as well. And of course, if you're time poor, some of the most convenient things that you can do is have those instant packets of plain rice, a can of tuna, some frozen veggies. You know, if you're really running late and you just need something, I've always got those three things in the pantry or in the freezer. So if I don't have time, I can just put them all together in a bowl, and they actually turn out to be a nutritious and delicious meal. And as long as you've got those low FODMAP servings there, then you're good to go as well. So they're probably my top three staples in my diet. Alana, I know you have incredible recipes as well. Do you have any quick tips for people?
I sure do. I have a few sitting in front of me. So don't forget that there are low FODMAP bread options. For example, your wheat or spelt-based sourdough bread, for the most part, is generally low FODMAP. So, you know, a good old classic sandwich can still be on the menu for you. You know, make a roast chicken or a roast beef or a roast lamb and save that leftover meat for some beautiful sandwiches. You know, there's nothing wrong with adding some mayonnaise, your favorite low FODMAP salad ingredients, and, you know, just some hard cheese, which is low FODMAP too, and creating this epic filling sandwich that's going to keep you going through the afternoon. So don't forget that's an option for you. Now, if you're not a fan of the low FODMAP breads, then you can make your own wraps at home. So one thing we find it's super versatile is making egg-based wraps. So this is, you know, it's literally beaten egg, you know, a little bit of milk and a little bit of flour. And that turns into, it's not quite a crepe, it's a little bit more substantial than that, but it turns into this beautiful flexible wrap that you can then fill with your low FODMAP ingredients. So you could make, I don't know, a creamy chicken wrap using chicken, mayonnaise, the green leaves of spring onion, maybe a little bit of chopped cranberry in there, maybe a little bit of brie, and then a handful of spinach. Beautiful. You've got this like really filling, amazing wrap. Or you could do the same with your roast veggies. So that's another idea. What else have we got on my list? So we've also got pikelets. These are mini pancakes if you live in the USA. And these are amazing because you can make them savory. So you could chop them with lactose-free cream cheese and some chives and some smoked salmon. You could make them sweet with a little bit of low FODMAP jam and a little scoop of whipped cream. The toppings here are endless, so they can be a really fun lunchbox filler, and you can freeze these. So you can make them in advance, thaw them the day you want to use them, and then pop them in your lunchbox. Another option that our followers really love is soup. So you can bulk cook soup, pop it in the freezer, and then you can either heat it when you're at work, or if you don't have access to a microwave, then you can heat it and pop it in a thermos, and it's going to stay warm until lunchtime. So we've got a beautiful slow cooker chicken soup. We make beautiful cumin carrot soup. You can make gorgeous creamy pumpkin soup using the low FODMAP servings of like kombucha or Japanese pumpkin. So you've got like endless soup opportunities right here that you can use for a hearty and delicious lunch. And then finally, for those of you who are grazers at work, then why not make yourself a pick and pack cheese board to take to work? You can put in your choice of low FODMAP cheese. You could put in some beautiful low FODMAP crackers. A serving of fruit here is a really good idea. So pick from your low FODMAP options. You could do chopped low FODMAP veggies and a homemade dip. You can make low FODMAP hummus at home using canned chickpeas in like 5 minutes. It doesn't take very long at all. So that is another like really tasty, really fun lunchbox idea.
You have so many beautiful recipes. It's making me hungry just listening to it all, Alana. I love it.
I know. We're both going to stop filming and be like, we have to go and have some food right now after this session.
Definitely.
So if you've got time, we've just given you a whole range of lunchbox ideas to go and try. But we also know that some of you are time poor. Maybe something's going wrong in the morning. You haven't been able to pack that lunchbox. So in cases like that, do you have any easy lunchtime takeaway options?
Yeah, I've got a couple of go-tos myself that I like to rely on. So I guess the first one is good old sushi. You can always get sushi that's made with just rice. It's got a protein source, whether you're getting like the fish or the chicken or anything like that. You can even get the vegetarian ones. They've all got quite small serves of things in them, so they're generally quite low FODMAP and reliable. If you can't find sushi, another go-to that I personally like is Vietnamese or some sort of Asian cuisine. They use a lot of rice in their cooking or rice noodles, so you can always ask them to just take out the onion and garlic and you can get a nice broth, or you could get a stir fry or some rice paper rolls. Anything like that is going to be better than having nothing. And of course, being here in Melbourne, we've got a huge cafe brunch scene. Well, a lot of the time it's all day brunch as well. So eggs on toast is an absolute go-to. Every cafe has that, so you can always ask for it to be on a sourdough or a gluten-free bread. And then you can get some low FODMAP toppings as well on your eggs. But no matter which way you have your eggs, whether it's poached, fried, it's going to be good, and it's great any time of day. So they're probably my three go-to, which Melbourne is really great for. And of course, in different parts of the world, there's lots of different cafes and things that specialize in different things. So you can always check in the app and make sure that they're using low FODMAP serve sizes of ingredients as well. And Alana, what are your favorite go-to takeaway options?
I'm a big fried rice for lunch. So the person when I get stuck out and about, as you just mentioned, those Asian cuisines are often really easy to tailor for low FODMAP. So when I'm ordering my fried rice, I'll choose my protein. I'll say no onion, no garlic, and then I'll say, can you swap like the peas for green beans or another low FODMAP veggie instead? And for the most part, I normally end up with a really delicious low FODMAP option that I can tolerate really well. So that is something that I would try. Sushi seems to be really popular. You just have to check there's no high fructose corn syrup being used in the rice, and don't have too much wasabi because that does contain sorbitol. So just keep an eye on those. So those are really good options. If you are going out for a work lunch and you're somewhere like maybe, I don't know, a pub or somewhere like that, then sometimes getting, plain grilled chicken or steak, adding those with a side of potatoes, just ask them to leave the seasonings off if you think there's going to be onion or garlic there, and then either getting a green salad or steamed veggies on the side and just any dressings left off the meal. And that way you should also end up something that's low FODMAP and tasty too. So those would be my go-to tips.
Great ideas.
Okay, so next question on our list is snacks. We are both massive snackers.
Yes.
Do you have some go-to convenient snacks that you could put in a lunchbox?
Absolutely. The first one, fruit. there's so many different low FODMAP fruit options. Pick what's in season. Pick something that transports really well in a backpack or however you take your food to work. And it's the perfect snack to have morning tea, afternoon tea, especially if you're a sweet tooth like me. We have lots of different low FODMAP nut bars or snack bars that are certified as well. So, you can always keep a box of those in your drawer at work. You can also have popcorn, for example, or make your own trail mix. Use a combination of different nuts. You can use a small amount of pretzels, even add a little bit of dark chocolate in there. Lots of different things that you can put in a trail mix if you try and make it yourself, and keep that in a small serve in little tubs. Again, keep them in your drawer for when you're feeling a bit peckish. And the last one I would say, if you have access to a fridge, some lactose-free yogurt or a low FODMAP yogurt is also really important as part of a balanced diet, and there's lots of low FODMAP serve sizes for that as well. So another great thing to just keep in the fridge for when you're craving something sweet or you're looking for that pick-me-up in the afternoon, as a good option that you've got there as well.
Love those. Such good choices. I add a couple of extra things into here. Don't forget that there's plenty of low FODMAP baking options. So if you love a good muffin, make sure you make a batch of those and keep them at home in the freezer for your lunchbox. If you're using gluten-free flour, then just remember you can improve the texture of your muffin by popping it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, and that will just make it go all soft and gorgeous again. And then the other things we really love in lunchboxes for a convenient snack is veggie slices, where you've got your veggies, you mix it with some egg and some flour and some cheese, and you create a beautiful little nutritious snack from that. So those can be really fun to play with as well. And I'm sure there are recipes on monashfodmap.com, and there's definitely recipes on alittlebit.yummy.com for those as well. Okay, and so we've just given you a range of lunchbox tips. And before we wrap up the session, my last question for today for you, Emily, is do you have any tips or advice for people who start experiencing symptoms at work?
Yeah, that can be a really hard one, and a lot of people can find that stressful. And quite embarrassing as well. So for me, I have a drawer at work that's got some essentials. So I've got my favorite herbal teas like peppermint tea or peppermint capsules. I'll always have an antispasmodic or a pain relief or anti-diarrhea medication, something for in those really dire situations where you just need to relieve those symptoms. And of course, a heat pack. I've always got a heat pack around. They're really, really good for when you're experiencing that pain. You just chuck it in the microwave and you can sit there with a heat pack on your lap and people won't notice. Or you might even find that something as simple as taking a break, going for a walk, having a chat with your colleague and just sort of saying hey, I'm not really doing too well today, letting people know as well so that they're not confused or trying to understand why you might be a little bit extra stressed as well.
Those are all fantastic tips. Thank you so much for joining us today, Emily, and sharing your take to work lunchbox ideas and those symptom management strategies. I know lots of people listening in are going to find those super useful. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Alana. It was lovely chatting as always, and I hope that everyone in our audience gained some insightful information and tips today as well.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you would like to support the work that Monash University are doing, please go and download the Monash University FODMAP Diet app from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Now, the money that you pay for this app goes straight back into low FODMAP research. So you're basically helping your community by downloading it. And there are lots of extra low FODMAP resources on monashfodmap.com or on alittlebit.yummy.com. So go and check those out as well. Thank you once again, Emily, and thank you so much to everyone who's listened in. It's been such a pleasure talking to you today, and we can't wait to see you in our next chat session. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Alana. Thank you, everyone.